Well, I would say it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but it is April. We'll check the calendars. We're pretty sure it is still April. Cleveland with a lot of heavy snow. This was earlier today. We're going to continue to see some snow across parts of the Northeast. Welcome back into Weather Nation. I'm meteorologist Kit Clonger. We're checking out your Northeastern Regional forecast. We'll get to meteorologist Taban Sharifi for the Southeast Regional here in just a few minutes. But we've got that snow across the Northeast that's going to persist later into the week. We actually have another system coming through. This one's a little bit warmer though and should bring more rain rather than snow. And then we're going to see warmer temperatures around the mid-Atlantic later on. We do still have a few winter weather alerts across upstate New York into the central Appalachians as well. Those do continue through the evening tonight for additional snowfall coming through. Plus, we still have some impacts, mainly focused here across the Adirondacks, but we're only expecting another couple inches, 2-3 inches or so at the most with the back-end lake effect snow. Fortunately, looks like all of our wind alerts have cleared out, but as we see this weak nor'easter that's beginning to turn into more of a lake effect event, you see we're bringing all that cold air across the lakes there. That's going to bring in a little bit more snow across upstate New York, and then it eventually clears out as we get into Wednesday. We have a brief breather, but then we've got that next system you see right there on the edge of the screen. That's going to be bringing in more rain. Now, this one is warmer, like I said, so that will help us prevent any more snow accumulation. As I'm sure many of us are pretty tired of it by this time of the year. Additional rainfall amounts, mostly under an inch across the area, but we could see some localized higher amounts. Additional snowfall that we're looking at, like I said, here around the Adirondacks, a little bit of snow, 1 to 3 inches or so. Overall, not a whole lot more, especially since we've seen some places getting upwards of a foot of snow already. Overnight, temperatures are dropping back into the 30s across the Northeast. The next few days, we'll actually see a bit of a warming trend, 50s there in Boston to 60s by the end of the week. So that will be the trend across the rest of the Northeast. Syracuse, looking at your 7-day forecast, we've got the rain there on Thursday. We have a brief break as we get into the weekend. Next week, we're starting to see some chances of rain and thunderstorms coming right back in. So 70s are on the way there, but a little bit more towards the coast. We're only looking at 60s at the end of the weekend next week. Maybe by middle of next week, we're looking at the chance for some 70s once again. Here around the middle Ohio Valley, out towards the mid-Atlantic, we've got that high pressure here starting off our Wednesday. That next low pressure system, though, coming out of the plains, will bring in a bit more of a rain chance. So here we are Wednesday evening into early Thursday. That rain starts to cross across the Appalachians here into the mid-Atlantic. It starts to dry out, so we aren't expecting much around the D.C. Delmarva area, but another front bringing in another rain chance. Overall, rainfall amounts, again, mostly under an inch, but some places here in the higher elevations of the Appalachian into parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, we might see just a little glaze of ice. And of course, a little glaze can still cause some tricky travel. So if you are in some of these higher elevations, keep that in mind as we head through that next system. Overnight lows dropping back into the freezing realm for Charleston, Parkersburg, Columbus there in Ohio. It will be a bit chilly to start out, but here a little farther south, we're actually going to be seeing those warmer temperatures on the way. So look at this, Roanoke, we're at 81 degrees by Friday, nice and toasty there. Norfolk, closer to the coast, you're only looking at upper 70s on the way. Richmond, Virginia, your 7-day forecast, though, we've got temperatures into the mid-80s by the end of the weekend. Now let's go ahead and send it on out to Orange Beach, Alabama, where the surf has been pretty rough today, even a bit of beach erosion there in Taban. We're back now at 1:30 for your regional forecast, the central region now. We're taking a look out at White Bear Lake. This is around the Twin Cities, and man, we've got turkeys on the run. I guess these turkeys just like to hang out here. Quinn's always sending us these videos of the turkeys. We always appreciate you sending us video, so get on social media, tag us at Weather Nation. We'll put you on air. But let's get to the forecast now as we're looking at temperatures over the next couple of days are going to be up and down around the area. But it's going to be quiet before we see some snow and some severe weather on the way. So let's take a look here at the forecast. Starting right out, we've got a lot of rain on the way. This is starting early on Wednesday across the Dakotas, moving into Minnesota. When it does that, it's going to transition into some very heavy snow, the heavy wet snow as well, maybe a little bit of rain on the backside of that as well. But we start to clear things out here as we go late Wednesday into early Thursday. But notice we've got that boundary off there to the west. That's going to be the start of another system that could bring some severe weather towards the Central Plains as we get into the weekend time frame. Now, how much rain are we looking at? Across the Midwest, we're looking around 1 inch of rain at best, but the snow is going to be a very heavy, very wet snow, especially across northern Minnesota there into the Arrowhead. We've got some places seeing upwards of 6, maybe up to a foot of snow in that area. So that'll eventually clear out, but the backside of this, we're going to see a lot of winds, and we could be looking at some ground blizzard conditions across the far northern tier of counties there in North Dakota, and just blowing snow around the rest of the Dakotas and into Minnesota as well. Forecast wind gusts, we're looking at gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour in some of those yellow to orange areas as well. Overnight lows dropping back into the 30s, so a little bit below the freezing level the farther north you go, but most of these numbers here are just above freezing. Looking at the temperatures through the next several days, though, especially into Grand Island there in Nebraska, very warm temperatures. We're looking at 90 degrees then. That's going to be a lot of fuel, a lot of heat energy for those storms to pop off later on. Looking through the forecast across the Great Lakes, this is where we see a little bit more on the rain side of things. Not quite cold enough for it to transition over to snow, but of course, Thursday morning, that does clear back out. We might see a little bit more on the rain side by the end of the week with that next system. Forecast accumulation, once again, most of the rain is going to be less than an inch, but we could see some snow across the Upper Peninsula, up around 1 to 3 inches at best. Overnight temperatures are dropping back into the 20s for Marquette, 40s for your highs there in the Upper Peninsula. Milwaukee, we're looking at a few chances of rain and snow over the next several days, and those temperatures getting back into the 60s. Here in Mason City, Iowa, Saturday is your chance for some thunderstorms coming through. Now, looking here across the Central Plains, we've got the chance Wednesday across Oklahoma into Missouri for severe weather. Then it backs up a little bit farther northwest on Thursday from northwest parts of Missouri all the way down through central Kansas. And of course, a little farther south, we have the severe chance for today. We're taking a look at Dallas, Texas now, where it does look like a pretty nice day for Texas standards, but overall, we are going to see some more severe thunderstorms. Yeah. Portland, Oregon, looking out over the water there at the bridge. Always love this shot. We're looking at a chance for some heavy rain, heavy snow, even some potential severe weather across the Pacific Northwest in the days to come. Thanks for joining us here on Weather Nation. I'm meteorologist Kit Cloninger. We'll get to the Southwest in just a moment. But like I said, heavy rain and heavy snow. We're taking a look at some of the snow forecast across the Cascades into the northern Rockies. A lot of places seeing some heavy precipitation in the days to come. Winter storm impacts are mostly going to be focused across inland Oregon into the northern Rockies, but also into the Olympic Peninsula. Could be seeing some of those impacts with all that snow coming through. We've got a deep low pressure system coming in from Alaska all the way into, or from south of Alaska into the Pacific Northwest here, bringing a lot of moisture and just persistent snow along the ridge of the Cascades there. So here we are already into Thursday and into almost Thursday evening. Several places seeing persistent snowfall, and just more scattered precipitation is just going to add on a little bit more in the way of snow totals. Now, also there is a severe weather threat along the west coast of Oregon from Astoria all the way down past Coos Bay there. So that's where we're looking at the potential for maybe some water spouts coming onshore. Just with these storms, they could be pretty intense. A little bit of an updraft with that could start spinning just a little bit. Now, accumulations like we were looking at a moment ago, we've got some places upwards of a foot. That's the hot pink color here. The orange color, that's upwards of 2 2 feet of snow. So some places are going to be very, very heavy snow, and it is a warmer system too. So just talking about heavy, wet snow across all of the northern United States over the next couple of days. Looking at overnight lows dropping back just below freezing for Spokane and Pullman there in eastern Washington, but you'll get back up into the 50s in the days to come. 50s across eastern Oregon as well, 62 in Boise. But Portland, we're looking at rain for the next several days, so it is going to be a bit of a soggy end to the week. By the weekend, though, we do start to see the sun coming out a little bit more, and that will be a little bit warmer as well, into the 60s. Forks, Washington, out on the Olympic Peninsula, your next chance of rain after this first system comes at the start of next week, and it looks like it sticks around for a little while. Your temperatures are going to stay in the 50s there. Now, overall, the lows are dropping down into the 30s, so not incredibly chilly, but still on the cooler side of things. A little farther inland to the Intermountain West, here across Wyoming, we've got scattered rain and snow showers. That clears out by Wednesday, but then that high pressure does eventually give way to that next system coming in off the coast, and that's going to bring in a little bit more of a messy setup here. A low pressure begins to develop, and that's what's going to eject into the Central Plains, bringing a late week severe threat to some of those areas. Forecast accumulations here, we've got some places upwards of a foot there northeast of the Boise area into the northern Rockies, and as far as rain totals go, maybe around an inch there in northern Utah, but overall mostly less than an inch. Lows overnight tonight dropping down into the 30s, right around that freezing mark for Billings and Idaho Falls, getting back up into the 50s though. Now let's take a look at some fire video once again out of Colorado, where we've seen the fire danger. It has been increasing over the last several days, Taban.